Hey guys, Bon here. Today I have another Mythic Plus walkthrough, a 17 Cinderbrew Meadery. If you guys have any questions about my UI or weak auras, feel free to join my Discord linked in the description below, and you can get those for free. Here are the talents that I use for the dungeon. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, 17 Cinder. Pretty difficult dungeon to time with the current eye level that we have right now, but we managed to squeeze this one out with interesting comp, I would say. So make sure you have your buffs ready to go, you know, your food buff, flask, oil. Make sure you watch my video that I just released on how to start a key with 2 Tempests. Most teams actually pull triple muscle here with Lust. I kind of love how we time this without doing meta pulls. We do 2 muscles only with Lust. So here as the tank gathers, you can't really start ascending and sending CDs right away. You're gonna have to be patient or you might rip aggro. I'm gonna go ahead and set my focus to the Pyromaniac. X is my marker that I kick, and I'm gonna be targeting the muscle, and every Ellie Blast goes into this muscle, and every Quake goes off of this muscle. Quake will spread Lightning Rod automatically, and then Elemental Blast is just priority damage on the muscle. So we're gonna drop our Storm Ellie, cast Stormkeeper, hit Ascendance, and you can I am running 3-minute Ascendance. You can macro House of Cards to your Ascendance. Make sure you do that. And then after Ascendance, I like to start with Double Tempest, because you have your 4-piece Jackpot, which is 30% damage on Ascendance, into 1 Stormkeeper charge, into Nature Swiftness, Ellie Blast Quake, and then you're just filling with chain, chain, chain until you can Ellie Blast again, and then until you can drop again. And anytime you have 150 Maelstrom, you're gonna Ellie Blast and Quake at the same time. Just dump that Maelstrom so you don't overcap, you know. In terms of defensives on this pack, you want to send Astral Shift relatively early when the debuffs start coming out and when the muscle puts the dot on you, because he could throw a chair you, and that is a deadly combination if you don't have a defensive up. You can see here I'm already shifted, and I'm Spirit Walker's Grace, because there are swirlies that you need to watch out for. These will one-shot you. Standard rotation here. Make sure you get your kicks. You can dwarf the dot that the Pyromaniacs put on you. You can see me move out of a swirly here. So make sure you're watching out for that. I did just get a new computer, so I was missing the Dungeon Weak Order pack, so I can't see this debuff. I should be dwarfing a lot of them, but you know, my brain only sees debuffs here, not up here, right? So I'm like, okay, I figured that out later that I was missing the Dungeon pack. But keep on chaining, spending your spenders, and alternating EQ Earthquake. I think our next pull is going to be Chewy, and then what our bear tank likes to do is chain with Chewy, right? Because straight single target is inefficient, and most classes don't do a lot of damage straight single target. So as these ats die, he'll continue pulling, you know, packs of 3, packs of 4 into Chewy. It's great for us for chain lightning. What we're doing is basically Ellie blasting and quaking and chaining and Tempest straight off of Chewy. I set the triangle as my focus so I can kick it over here. In terms of defensives for Chewy, you want to make sure that you're topped off before he does his knockback. If you're not, you're in danger of dying. High stakes is very easy to dodge, but the most important thing to stay alive here is watch when he does his knock. Very important, especially in combination with the Pyro. Pyro might put a dot on you. See that Tenderize? See how low we get? If I'm not topped, I'm health potting or popping a defensive. Extremely important. I think my bear is looking to get another pack soon. There he goes. Very active there. I like Squish. Squish is kind of he's a pretty beast tank. Here we go. First thing I do is I set the Pyro to my focus. Make sure I can kick him on CD. Especially since kicking also gives us damage reduction, right? Our talent called Season Winds. So if we kick a Pyro, we're taking 15% reduced fire damage. We kick him twice, we're taking 30% reduced fire damage. Makes us pretty tanky. Very good in a lot of keys this season. No need to dwarf in these situations when there's one, because healer can just dispel unless you're in danger of dying. Here we go into another muscle, and again, your rotation is very simple. Chain, Ellie Blast, Chain, Quake, and then Tempest off the priority mob. Now, if there is no prio mob, you'll see me cycling sometimes, right? Assume there's no muscle here. I would target the Pyro, Ellie Blast the Pyro. I would target this guy, the second Pyro, Quake off the Pyro, target the muscle, Ellie Blast the muscle. It is a gain to cycle your lightning rods, but it's risky because you can have some downtime, right? If you accidentally misclick something and drop target, your uptime is more important. So if you have a prowl target, just sit on your prowl target and focus DPS off that. Okay, so now we know we have Ascendance. We know we have, our CDs. We're getting ready to pull the boss with this trash. Brewmaster can be difficult. Where you want to use your defensives on this guy is when he puts the dot on you, which is you'll see it coming. He'll throw a barrel at you, so you know you're gonna get the dot. Especially if your healer says, "Hey, I'm weak on this." That's where you want to use your defensives. Now the only defense I have left here is Totem, but that should be okay. We're gonna pull the boss, or look to pull the boss soon. I'm saving this Stormkeeper for the boss. We pull the boss, I target the boss, and I'm gonna Stormkeeper Ascend, right? And I just don't want to overcap. I'm going to use my charges off the boss, Tempest off the boss, Ellie Blast off the boss, and Quake off the boss. That's all I'm doing. I just got a, big boost in damage there. He has a frontal you got to watch out for, and a knockback on the tank. Avoid the puddles. A nice little trick that you can do is when he puts out the dots, you can see the brew coming toward you. And if you jump right before it lands, you'll take no damage and it won't slow you. So like as it's landing, you jump to the side and you'll know it's you, and you can pop a defensive if you think you're in danger, or if your healer tells you you're in danger. Now, as far as your single target rotation, you can watch my Mythic Plus guide on single target rotation. I'll kind of cover it here, but what I'm doing, Lightning Bolt is your filler, and Lava Burst before every Spender, Lava Burst before every Stormkeeper if you can, and that's pretty much the basics. Now, when it comes to intermission, he no longer knocks back, which is good. You want to get the Cinderbrews, I believe it's 5 delivered, to get him out of the intermission, and then he spawns these clouds that you want to dodge. So this boss can be annoying. I recommend not dropping Earthquakes here, Empowered Earthquakes, and just Ellie Blast nonstop. You can see the tank gets knocked back. The tank has to move them nonstop because of the clouds. Use Spirit Walker's Grace to reposition to make sure you're not going to get eaten by a cloud. And yeah, your single target rotation is maintain Flame Shock. Try to buff your Ellie Blast and Echo's Earthquakes with Lava Burst. Try to buff your Stormkeeper charges with Lava Burst. And Ice Fury when you can, when you have nothing else, and make sure that you proc that Ice Fury Fusion of Elements by either reapplying Flame Shock or casting Lava Burst into a nature spell. Or you can also hard cast Ellie Blast into Ice Fury, which automatically procs your Ice Fury Fusion of Elements. When you ascend, you just keep up your same single target rotation. You can see here dropping Earthquakes, it's like, even though I don't recommend it, I catch myself doing it all the time, and you lose some damage, right? You drop that Earthquake, boss moves out. It's just like, okay, that kind of sucks. There you go, delivering my brew. And then back to building some Maelstrom on the boss, and I'm gonna kind of get trapped here, so I'm gonna look to get to my tank, probably use Gust of Wind and reposition, but it seems a little dangerous, so I'm just gonna lose some uptime here. And uh-oh, and we step on some poo, and we actually pull some trash, which this is my first time. This actually surprised me, but it is very good for us. So now we can drop some Earthquake on those trash and get some value out of our Chain Lightning. And now you got to make sure that if the boss is about to die, don't repop Ascendance, right? Ascendance is so strong. Like single target is whatever, like it's okay. But AoE, Ascendance gains so much value. It's better to save it at some points on the next pack than to just send it here on the boss. Even if you're running 2, I would not send here. 2-minute ascend. So here we're just sort of kiting the boss. I don't know about pulling that Wrangler though, because he's like, I guess we're trying to knock him in, and killing him is going to be a pain in the butt. But fun fact about these Wranglers is they have something called a bazooka. You can outrange it. I think it's only like 20-25 yards. So stand at the end of the line and it won't hit you, because those can be a dangerous combination when paired with the other mob's big AoE that we'll talk about later. Make sure you assign kicks in this dungeon. No kicks should be getting off ever. There's really, I guess there's some parts where there is a lot, but use your AoE stops when you get to that point. Here we're gonna go to the B guy first, and we'll talk about the B boss when we get there. Surveyors have honey volley that you need to kick, or you're in big trouble. You're likely gonna die if the volley goes off. I'm assigned X, so I'll be kicking that volley. There'll be puddles on the ground that you dodge. The harvester, you can see my purple means like tank buster prio mobs. He does an AoE shout, and the overlaps are when the AoE shout comes out and the bees put a debuff on you. Now, if you have 2 or more bleeds from the bees, you need to dwarf if you're a dwarf. Otherwise, if you have 2 or more stacks and the harvester is shouting, you might die. You need to pop a personal. So here we're gonna ascend, and again we're gonna cast Stormkeeper, and then we have no lightning elemental, and you can desync these. It's perfectly fine. If you have a pool with no ascendance but Ellie is up, send the Ellie if it's enough targets. But we Stormkeeper, we're gonna ascend, we're gonna Ellie, but we're gonna dump our Maelstrom, right? NS, Ellie Blast, Quake, and then just spam chain until you're back up, and then you're gonna Ellie Blast, dump Quake again, and then Tempest when it procs. My Ellie's back up. I'm not sure if I drop it. I do, which is actually like a gain according to the Sims. So now that I redropped Ellie, I get my 4-piece jackpot. So now what I want to do is prioritize Tempest and Chains without overcapping. Ellie Blast dump, and then Tempest, and then Ellie Blast Quake dump. You can see how powerful Ascendance is, right? We just delete the Harvester, which do tons of damage to him. And that's the combo, right? The swarming surprise is like an AoE that this guy does, and he also does like a giant circle that you just gotta get out of. But make sure that you have a defensive. You can see this bleed just owning us, right, from the little bees. If you have 2 of those, you're in danger. Here I go. I set up the Surveyor kick again. Somebody else is going to be in charge of kicking the Wrangler. And there's a swarming supplies, right? So the big guy is shouting, I have a line on me, and a bee is about to bleed me. So I am in danger, so I need to outrange this line or pop a big defensive. And hopefully I do something like that. I pop Astral Shift, and I get Cocoon. So not only am I aware of like, hey, I might die, my healer's also aware that I'm in danger. So he also cocoons me, right? So like, when you're doing these keys, you can't just go through the motions of like, okay, DPS, my healer will heal me. You have to be aware of the points that you can die. And in this case, it's missing a kick, shout and B overlap, or shout and Bazooka, the bazooka ability overlaps. And swirlies on the ground, as always. There's my kick. Make sure you get your kick. And yeah, just be aware, guys. Don't be that guy that just dies and like, hey, no heals, right? No. You are responsible for your health as much as your healer is. You can see me here trying to arrange this, and you see that? Boom, outrange. No damage taken from that. Beautiful. Good job, Bon. Sometimes I get hit and die by that. You know, it happens to everybody. I don't know what I'm doing. Changing the overall? Damn. Dr. Pad. Degree in pad physics. Gotta see what that overall looks like. It's crazy. Okay, same type of mobs here. Again, your rotation is the same. Doesn't change. Stormkeeper on CD. Tempest on CD. Ellie Blast. Quake on CD. I haven't dwarfed a single time, and the reason I haven't dwarfed is because I don't have the dungeon pack and I can't see the bleeds on me. So like usually I see the bleeds, I'm like, oh, I'm taking damage, but they're up here, and I'm like, I think there comes a point in this instance where I get 2 or 3, and I'm like, oh my god, why am I dying? And I instantly hit dwarf. I think it's coming up if I recall correctly, and I actually save myself with that dwarf. Again, very similar pools. Double Wrangler here with the Swarming Surprise guy. So you want to make sure that we don't get womboed here. See this Wrangler? So I think I tried to stop this. Oh, oh, wow, I got so lucky there that I didn't get knocked back into the swirly. But yeah, ways you die here is, again, big guy AoE into a Wrangler Bazooka. That's the only thing that's going to kill you here. And then dodge your swirlies. Now this next Ascendant I'm saving because we have a relatively bigger pool coming up. So I get some nice procs here. Another useful tip is a lot of teams skip this pack right here. So, oh, I actually think I don't do it. Anyway, I'm going to blame this on the new computer and me missing my weak core stuff. But when you jump down here, you have to dismiss Big Steve. And our tier procs Little Steve, which is our Lightning Elite, you have to dismiss that guy too. Otherwise, they're going to go around and pull this guy. And I think I do that. I think that's my fault. So I jump over and these guys are going to pull over. And mistakes are going to happen. And I think I end up seeing it. I see this line. I'm like, wait a second. What does that happen? And I look over there. I'm like, uh-oh. So then these guys come in. It's like, okay. So now our team is in like, okay, we need to game right here, right? So like, I'm kicking X. Somebody's going to have to pick this guy up. And then someone else is kicking Star. I am ascending with my Ellie, Stormkeeper if it comes up. And then ascending on the Harvester. And I'm just trying to kill that guy. Here I have the line, which I'm going to eat, but I Spirit Walker's Grace so I don't get interrupted. And here's the part where I actually almost die. So here I'm again, you already know the AoE rotation. We talked about it in the beginning. You don't change. And then here I get a bleed. And the bleed overlap, this Bazooka overlap with the Swarming Surprise. So he's about the AoE. Or I think he did AoE, but I have a bleed on me and I haven't dwarfed yet. Not yet. Right here. Boom. I dwarfed that and that next tick of the bleed would have killed me. So incredibly lucky, get your kicks, and we somehow recover thanks to Ascendance. So again, Ascendance is incredibly important. Again, Stormkeeper on CD. We have that CDR, Stormkeeper on CD. Now, apparently the Arc Discharge bug still exists, where if you have Arc Discharge up and your Stormkeeper does additional damage. So keep that in mind. I'm going to start playing around that. All right, so Benk Buzzbee. This boss is annoying for Ellie because the bees have a chance to bug out for us. This happens if you have big elemental out and he despawns while you're on the bee. That is my current theory. So just make sure that if you're going to help with the bee vehicles, that you don't have a big Ellie pet out, which is hard because our tier set procs one, so that's great. Don't know why Blizzard hasn't fixed that. This is a common issue that occurred in Grim Batol and Siege of Borealis when you got in vehicles. Lucky for me, our Mistweaver does a lot of them, and our Hunter actually does a lot of them too. Banchers is very team player. Banchers, I love playing, doing keys with this whole group. This whole group plays to win, and I really like this group. All right, so single target, maintain your flame shock. In terms of defensives, guys, you shouldn't be he does like the AoE wins. You don't really want to defensive that unless you have bleeds. These bees put out bleed. So if you have a bleed, if you have two, you're 100% need a defensive with this wings, because look at our health during wings, right? If you have one or two stacks, you're in danger. So that's where you want to use your shift and totem. You see yourself have a bleed and he's doing the wins, that's how you live. Okay, that's what this is how I can die. Other than that, you can't die just from the wins alone. Now the objective of this boss is to get on these bees, and you press the number 1 on your vehicle and you charge them into these barrels, and it destroys the barrels. The more barrels you have, the more bees spawn. So again, that's very dangerous. Oh, be careful with aggro. These guys melee. You see me almost dying. Like, these guys melee extremely hard. Boss is pretty high, and we have Ascendance coming up in 20. So there's going to be a part, you don't want to send it like single target. You want to wait until he spawns some ads and then send it. So you have more Maelstrom generation, more boss dam, and you can instantly delete the ads. So here there's a lot of ads. I'm probably gonna look to ascend this. Yeah, let's look. So we have Stormkeeper, hit Ascendance, double Tempest probably, just to get that big burst out and kill these. I overcapped like crazy just to kill them, I guess. I'm pretty sure I overcommitted one Stormkeeper charge and overcapped, which is a mistake in my opinion. Is it Patty? Yeah. Is it more boss time? Probably not. Again, you're just single targeting on the boss, but instead of Lightning Bolt as your filler, Chain Lightning is your filler when the ads spawn. And then you're going to want to use your Dwarf if you have minimum 2 stacks, or if you have like 1 going into wins, you could look to Dwarf. Here we get some more B, so we're going to go ahead and use Chain Lightning as our filler, and then every Ellie Blast goes into the boss, every Empowered Earthquake goes off the boss, and that's it. If you're interested in, what I'm doing in terms of buttons that I'm pressing, they're over here. And here we skip the little baby bees, so what I like to do is I like to just gust the wind up here. Oh, and we haven't talked about House of Cards. So House of Cards is a 1.5 minute cooldown. I like to run 3-minute ascend. That means that you can use House of Cards in between ascendants. You'll see me have a weaker that says Trinket, Trinket whenever it has like 2 seconds left. So you want to, like here, I should probably just press it to be honest, because if I save it now, then I can't use it on the next ascend. And I made the mistake of doing that, right? I wonder if I press it here or not. I'm not exactly sure. I do press it early. I'm like, okay, now that I pressed it 10 seconds after it came up, I have to wait 10 seconds after Ascend comes up to line it up with the trinket. Because you do not want to send Ascend without this trinket. Trust me. It's a big difference. Here, what you want to watch out for in this trash is I am targeting this guy. See Reckless Delivery. I'm pretty sure I get hit here, so I Astral Shift. Because I'm like, this is kind of close, so I'm probably going to get hit. And then, okay, I don't get hit. So you want to charge him into the wall. You want to set up your kicks and just your AoE rotation. You always want to Ellie Blast off the Hobgoblin and then Quake off the Hobgoblin away. If he's charging too far away from your Chain Lightning, you'll see me swap off the Hobgoblin and start chaining this pack and set away from him to come back and swap back onto him. Now these batches spawn, which they're explosive brews, you have to kill them. Ellie's pretty good at it. You'll see me sometimes spam Earthquakes instead of Ellie Blast then Quake, because if you're spamming Chain, your Chain might not hit them unless you're targeting one of them. And if you're spending your Maelstrom on Ellie Blast, that Ellie Blast is doing nothing to the brews. But if you're just spamming Earthquakes when the brews are up, you're doing some damage to them, right? So sometimes you'll see me, if you proc Ascendance, you just kill the brews, especially with Tempest. You'll see me send some Tempest here. And that just kills brews. Like really, really good. And then look to get your kicks. In terms of defensives, guys, the biggest point you want to use your defensives is see how this guy's charging, Reckless Delivery. You want to use a defensive if there's ads up and he has a charge coming. Why? Because this thing does a ton of damage, like boom, right? And then if you get casted on at the same time, then you're in danger. Here, I'm pretty sure we had like either Chikakun from the monk because that didn't do a lot. And then what I like to do is I like to send Cap Totem and Thunderstorm while this is happening. While that charge hits, you want these CC'd and stun. Here we get another awesome proc. We're just gonna drop Quakes. You can see me Quake, Quake, back to back, Tempest, Tempest, and I'm just doing big damage on the barrels. This dot you can dwarf if you get it, and then just make sure you get your kicks. I think we're skipping the next pack because it's double Hobgoblin. It's like a not very efficient pack. Or we might just do it. I think we pulled it on accident. Or I think our bear just goes, let's just do it. So we just do it. This is dangerous because you have double charge. And it hits very hard. Here we go with the batch. I actually target this batch because what I see groups wipe a lot is when the tank moves like the ads away from the batch. So your chain lightning can no longer hit it, your earthquakes are off, and it's just like I tell every time just keep it on the batches or they're not gonna die. So I actually target that batch individually and then we go, oh, we charge it because we want to pull this trash. We're like, okay. And then we set up a kick, we set up a focus. Come on, Bond, you can do it. Taste tester, that's what I'm kicking. And we're gonna send Ascendance here. And we're just targeting Skull. You already know the AoE rotation. Here I Astral Shift. I like to Astral Shift in Ascendance because I'm like, I don't want to die in Ascendance, right? Ascendance is so important. I'm like, okay, I'm shifting. There's a charge coming up. I'm in Ascendance. Perfect time to Astral Shift. Like, you do not want to die in Ascendance. You can see me here cap right after that charge. Now here's some brews. I'm just dropping earthquakes. I'm trying to target this brew. I'm like, okay, chain lining off the brew. If that brew pops, you're likely dead, especially like starting on like 15, 16, maybe even lower. When these hobgoblins die, they spawn like a ton of little baby ads. Oh, ooh, okay. So we're gonna watch that one back a little bit. So this is the overlap I'm talking about, right? So like whenever this delivery is happening, anything else combined with that charge is death. I knew I had nothing. I remember this moment. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to time this health pot to right before when it hits. So then, but it happened. So the tick happened instantly that I had no time to health pot. But I wanted a health pot right before he's gonna hit, but then it ticked hit and I died. I'm like, oh, that was my fault. I know my healer was like apologizing. He's like, oh, I should have had you. Like, no, no, no. I still had health pots, so I take that blame. I wouldn't blame my healer there. I have to be hyper aware when you die, and that's anytime these little punks are charging, and you have anything else on you, you're in danger. Now these guys, yeah, you don't want to be in melee when they spawn because you have earthquakes down. You can see orange means aggro, so I'm like, I'm getting the hell out. I'm like, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. Gotta go, gotta go. All right, but then bear tanks have awesome threat. He's like, I got him, and he leaves. I'm like, all right, well, we're out. No padding here. Okay, here I set the pyro on X. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm kicking X, and then we're just killing the hobgoblin. He's gonna do his charge. There it is. No, that's here we go. Reckless delivery on tank, and then hopefully I help. I don't. I should have dropped the cap there because that's what a good team member does. And I'm just doing normal rotation. LA Blast into Quake, into Chains, into Tempest, into Stormkeepers. Here we have a dot. We don't have dwarf, so we're just gonna get healed. Now we have this dot, and he's gonna charge soon. You can see the charge time here in 1 second, and there's lots of casters and batches, so it can get pretty chaotic here. Hopefully I press Astral Shift on this delivery. I do, right? So he's charging, and there's a lot of casters, so I press Astral Shift on him. I'm not dying here. I T-Storm to help anybody out, and I kick my mob. Because again, the combination of the charge with any cast is when people die the most. So now, you'll see me if they do failed batches. You'll see me just spam drop earthquakes. It's in my opinion, it's a little bit less damage than LE Blast quaking. But if you're LE blasting, you're not doing any batch. I even target this batch in Tempest. Like I'm just making sure that they're dying because our timer looks pretty good. Now we have Lust coming, and it's gonna be Ascend. It's gonna be like an Ascend Lust soon. So, and we know this, so we're gonna look to do a pretty big pull after this with Ascend. My trinket is off. I'm curious to see if I send Ascend without trinket, which is a mistake. Okay, so the hop is in, and again, we're just AoE rotation. We have Ascendance up, and I'm not going to send it here. You do not send here, because we haven't lusted, and all these mobs are dying. There's no point. This guy's charging. It would be like the worst Ascend ever, right? So we're just waiting. He's going to pick up aggro on the droplets that spawn after he charges, and we're going to do a big pull. I remember seeing this pull and being like, oh my god, you're insane. I think he pulls this too, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Yep. So no wait, does he? Yeah, he does. Okay. So that's when he pulls us. I ascend. I'm like, okay. Drop my. I don't remember if I dropped my Ellie or not, but I ascend. My house of cards is up. I'm gonna cast. I don't have Stormkeeper. That was a mistake. I did have Stormkeeper up, so I should have Stormkeeper before. But you'll see me here spam earthquakes, like earthquake, earthquake, and that's only when the batches are up. You can see the hop. This is a perfect example. The hop is gone. I can no longer chain off of him, so I'm gonna target something else in here. I target a little minion. I'm just chaining off of him until this guy comes back and I can early blast him. But he's gonna die out there anyway. So here I get a dot and I get dispelled, and I'm just spamming chain Ellie Blast Quake. Just batch spawns. I think I'm gonna Tempest it. I hope. No, just dot. Oh, I think I did Tempest it actually. I saw a lightning rod on it. It could have been a random earthquake though. Here, okay, there we drop Ellie because it's okay to desync your Ellie in Ascendance. And when you drop your Ellie, you get a bunch of haste and then 4 stacks of haste. I think it's 4% each. And then you get jackpot, right? So your chain lightnings, your tempests are all doing 30% more damage. All right, so dungeon has been pretty dang clean, which is awesome. So now we're gonna do the boss. Now this boss with the rogue and crippling poison is amazing. My tank knows he plays with hunter, right? So if you keep the little ads that he spawns next to the droplets and you can chain, I love that tank already. In terms of defensives, you want to astral shift during this spouting stout, and then you want to dwarf if he puts the dot on you after this intermission or whatever you want to call it. Here my trinket is up. I'm gonna use it again because you want to use it as soon as it's up so you can get 2 uses in between ascendances when you're running 3 minutes. So here bear keeps it right next to it, and you can see what this is my slow, but wait till you see what rogue does. Look how they're moving with crippling. So the bear's able to just tank it right next to the ads, and I'm just like chain. I'm like, this is amazing. Stormkeeper, this is beautiful, and I'm sure it's good for the hunter because he can trick shots off of it with multi-shot. It's just sick, right? So we get way more boss damage this way. A lot of tanks don't know. A lot of tanks will just bail and like go like 40 yards away and let DPS kill them. Like, no, bro, have some, have some courage. Tank them next to the boss. Let your melee cleave off the boss. You're losing millions if you're not doing this. You can see Astral Shift here during the mission, and just like always be casting, right? Just plan your instants around moving, and try not to lose any globals. So here again, we get the crippling on all of them, and then our tank just kites around them, and then we try to use Typhoon and stuff to knock them. You can see Banchers use like I think Explosive Trap or Explosive Shot to knock them in, and my tank is just this is beautiful. Now we have Ascendance coming up in 20 seconds. Ideally, we save our Stormkeeper for that as well, and ideally we ascend when we have ads up. And I'm pretty sure I told my group, hey, don't worry about these ads. I'm just gonna delete them so they can focus more on boss time. So here we're gonna Spirit Walker's Grace, I hope. Yes, we do. And then we're gonna cast Stormkeeper, Storm Ellie, Stormkeeper, and then we're gonna send. What I like to do is I dropped an Earthquake on the boss. I should have dropped an Earthquake there on the Ursuls, but I'm gonna Ellie Blast and I'm gonna chain off of these during Ascendance, because chain lightning during these with Stormkeeper off Ascendance, and then Ellie Blast the boss and swap back and chain these. So I'm swapping target, just killing them, and I dropped one Earthquake on them and back to Ellie Blast boss, chain and Earthquake adds, Ellie Blast boss, chain Earthquake adds, and then don't over Earthquake them in Ascendance because probably one is enough to kill them all, and then just dump all your Maelstrom onto the boss. You can see me just jump up in the meters there. My tank was confused. He's like, oh, they're dead. I guess we just stay here, which is pretty funny. He's like, I guess we'll just stay here. So we end up like committing here. It's like, okay, we're just going to root these ads, and then we're going to cap these ads, and then we're going to go to the corner, and if we die, we die. I'm pretty sure it's just like, yeah, there's an ad there close. You have to be very careful. It's another close ad. I think we get a sweet ring here, which is amazing. Boss at 4%, just ignore. And he dies. On to the next part. Make sure not to aggro that. And I think everyone called out a B, and I'm like, I'm going to the far one. And nobody takes the first one. I'm like, yo, what? They took all my Bs. I'm like, Gusta win back to this B. I think, so for this part, this next part, these guys heal each other, so you can't AoE. But with this comp, you can AoE. I know Priest can mind control to stop one from healing. But rogues have wound poison, I believe, that reduces healing. So you can AoE, and I believe if they're below 50% and they heal, they'll only heal to 50%. I don't know how it works, but I think it happens here. You'll see what happens. But in this, you chain no matter what. Even though they heal, you Ellie Blast, and you Quake, and you chain no matter what off the prior target. You can see this guy didn't heal to full, right? So he's probably below 50% or something. There's like a threshold of where they heal and they just don't go past X amount. So now we're on X. And they're all dying evenly, which is funny. We should be on X. I think I remember there was banter in Discord saying like kill them all at the same time, and someone saying no, 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 and it's a funny moment. But you'll see right here when X dies, you'll see these two not heal to full. Watch, and that I believe is wound poison, 62 and 50%, right? So that's pretty good. Any kind of mortal strike should help with that. In terms of defensives on this, guys, you don't have to do anything. Just dodge the circle. These guys are boring. And then for Goldie, Goldie's defensives are they're kind of weird. I feel like you only have to use defensives in intermission. Like there's no like massive healing. There's no one shots. For dwarf, I like to use my dwarf. I guess you can only use it after you get the small circle and you clear some boxes. That's when you want a dwarf, and then you can astral shift when in the intermission. Or if your tank actually like pops two or something, two big barrels, you can astral shift that as well. Because healers are pretty good about healing intermission damage. All right, so let's just start. Go back to the single target opener here when you have everything up. So single target opener, I like to cast Stormkeeper here into Storm Ellie, Stormkeeper, Storm Ellie into Ascendance, and then again I like to buff all my stuff. So I'm gonna either Lava Burst, Tempest, and then Lava Burst, Ellie Blast, or Lava Burst, Stormkeeper, and then just spam your Stormkeepers until you have another Lava Burst, and you can Lava Burst Quake, Lava Burst Ellie Blast, and then this is an important one right here. When you Ellie Blast and you have Ice Fury up, you want to spam Ice Fury while you're casting Ellie Blast, and you'll see yourself shoot out a bunch of Ellie Blasts. Right, look, boom, 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 like machine gun Elemental Blast. Because you not only are you ascended and you're proccing additional overloads from Ellie Blast, when you Ellie Blast into Ice Fury, that also procs Fusion of Elements, which is an additional Ellie Blast that also overloads because you're ascended. Now, when you get the small circle, you want to pop these barrels and dodge the waves that it spawns. Sometimes you don't have to, but if you don't pop any small barrels, you're gonna have more waves here in the intermission to die. And this is kind of like when you want to hit your defensives when she's doing Let It Hail. Now, when you pop barrels, these barrels all pop in like a cross. So like in a plus sign. So if I were to pop this barrel next to me, the waves are coming out. Just draw like a plus sign. The waves are coming out like this, like the plus sign here. So if you stand in this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner, you're safe. Here the tank is popping two barrels, two of the big barrels. The goal is to pop. I think most groups do two and then one. So you don't have any of the big barrels during the intermission damage, which could be a disastrous. And then just dodge the waves, of course. Single target is just Lava Burst, Spender, Lava Burst, and then your next spot. I like to Lava Burst on CD. Here I trinket on CD so I get another use before another Ascendance. Here I'm standing diagonally, so I know I'm not going to get waved. You go Lava Burst into Stormkeeper, and then we should Ellie Blast, and then Quake. Sometimes when you're about to overcap, if you're about to overcap, just send the Spenders. You don't have to Lava Burst, overcap, and then use a Spender. Just send your Spenders. Now, sometimes when I proc my Jackpot, and I'm not overcapping, I will prioritize my Lightning Bolt, my Tempest, and my Lava Burst over Spenders, because they're doing 30% more damage. So keep that in mind. And then just make sure you don't get hit by the tank stuff, and make sure you don't get hit by any waves. Here I kind of wasted a little bit of an earthquake, I guess, but we needed to pop this big barrel, so I go to pop the barrel, and I got to make sure I'm diagonal so I don't get hit, and I'm gonna get away from all these barrels, hopefully, because there's a bunch of I see a bunch of waves on you know what? I'm not gonna try to thread this Nito. We're gonna time this key no matter what. I'm just gonna play it safe and we'll go so out of here. So here, we're gonna save this Stormkeeper. We have Ascendance coming up. Ideally, we wait for our trinket, but it's lined up pretty good. We're gonna drop. We're gonna Stormkeeper, Storm Ellie soon. Soon, Bond, please. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Oh, was I? Were we trying to? Oh, I was trying to wait for Lust. There we go. Yeah. So I'm gonna Stormkeeper, Storm Ellie, then we Lust, then we CD, and then we just burn them. Sometimes you just see me like turret the lightning bolts, which is fine. You don't have to like, cause it's hard to see. I feel like I lose uptime if I try to lava verse Stormkeeper a lot, cause like the new lightning bolt animation is weird. It's hard to tell whether I'm in a global or not. It's very hard to explain unless you play elemental. So sometimes you'll see me if you have arc discharge up, that's already buffing your Stormkeeper, right? So I'll just machine gun turret them if I don't have like an instant lava verse. Like there, I'm just turreting lightning bolts, and there we go. That's 17 Cinderbrew Meadery. Let me know if you liked the video. If you want to see more like this, don't forget to subscribe. And again, if you have any questions about weak auras or add-on profiles, make sure that you visit my Discord linked in the description below. Catch you guys in the next video.